Hey guys, how you doing? This is my new puppy. She's been kind of going crazy. We've been trying to record this video for the last hour, so I figured I would just hold her, be a little easier. So, do you think Palpatine was stronger in Episode 9 versus Episode 3? No? Yeah, no. It's definitely not. So, I always thought that Palpatine was actually weaker in Episode 9 versus Episode 3. However, it's now been sort of confirmed. I know it upsets you too. It upsets me, I know. Sort of confirmed by Lucasfilm themselves, by Matt Martin, who is the lead story group guy on Lucasfilm, that Palpatine actually was strongest in the Rise of Skywalker, which it actually really bugs me, because his death was so quick and sudden, sort of, and it was just a death that we've seen, or at least a inflicted injury that we've seen so many times before, the lightning being ricocheted back by a lightsaber. We've seen it with Dooku and Obi-Wan. We've seen it with Mace and Palpatine. It's just like this constant, it's just this thing that Palpatine should know by now, right? So someone on Twitter asks him, power-wise, how does Episode 9 Sidious stack up to his Revenge of the Sith incarnation? Weaker, stronger, equal? And Matt Martin goes to say, at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, after he gets the power from Rey and Ben, he seems more powered up than ever. So, while Matt didn't work on Episode 9, of course, he is one of the lead guys on the story group, so he has more access than any of us when it comes to story details. This, for me, this was my fear, was that Palpatine was actually going to be stronger in Episode 9. It just kind of makes me wonder, does that mean possibly Rey is stronger than Yoda because she was able to hold on to the lightsaber, whereas in Episode 3, Yoda wasn't. It just got blasted out of his hand, and Episode 9, Palpatine was stronger. It's just, I want to see a lot of things answered, and then I have nothing against Rey. I think her training should be shown in the films. However, I feel like there should be no shadow of a doubt that Yoda is more powerful than pretty much any Jedi that ever existed. So to have this sort of illusion that, she gets to hold, whether all the Jedi were powering through her or not, she gets to hold the saber, which if they were, which I believe they were, it should have been shown in a more prevalent manner, a more obvious manner, where they all, show up behind her in the flesh, which is apparently what was supposed to happen according to rumors, but you never know how true those are. So if that's the case, then it's kind of a bummer. Now on to the topic of how Palpatine became so powerful. Well, he, it was a diet in the Force. Rey and Ben, he sucked their life essence, and then he became more powerful than he was before. So Palpatine's fully back to power now. He's revitalized, more powerful than ever, according to Matt Martin. And I might be reading too much into the tweet, but hey, that's kind of what I do here. That's what we nerds do. So that being said, I feel like him at full power now, or really a new power, a new level of power, it kind of undermines all of the previous fights that he's had in the prequels, at least undermines those other characters that he went against, such as Mace Windu and Yoda, and as I said with the lightsaber thing. Now I understand that all the Jedi were powering Rey. I do feel like it should have been conveyed a lot more visually obvious that they're there, not just voices. Kind of like they're all just behind her. I've said it a million times. They're just outstretched hands or something, or they're touching her shoulder and just, funneling that power through her. That would have been sick. That would have made sense to me. But the way they did it was just very quick, and it didn't sit well at the end of the day. Now that he is more powerful than ever, I feel like there should be some sort of explanation as to why he died so quickly. What happens when you get hit, when you're in this loop of lightning versus a lightsaber? Can you not stop? If you stop, will it ricochet somewhere onto the walls? Will it come back onto you? What happens? That's my concern. That's what I want to know. Now, when the Emperor died in Return of the Jedi, it was said in the novelization that his hatred was so strong, that he was focused so much on Vader's betrayal, that he was just unleashing his Force lightning and didn't really realize what was going on, the fact that he was about to be thrown into this well, into the depths of the Death Star and die, which he didn't. I originally thought that this, and one reason why I found a lot of comfort in his return was because I was like, this isn't really Palpatine. This is a different form of Palpatine. It's not really him. It's just a weaker version. It's not Revenge of the Sith Palpatine, because he said, I've died before. It means that, okay, well, if he's died, then that means he wasn't just, like kind of knocked out. He was full on dead and then resurrected. How was he resurrected? I think maybe by those Sith cultists that we see in the stands. Now, those guys are pretty interesting. They're not Force users or anything as indicated by the visual dictionary for Episode 9 by Pablo Hidalgo, but they are these Sith cultists, so they're basically fanatics about Sith. And I'm sure they must have done something to resurrect Palpatine in the same way that Mother Talzin, enhanced Savage Opress's powers or brought back Maul and, fixed his psyche and all that stuff. There must be something else going on here, some Sith magic, as, I don't know is the character's name or the actor's name, unfortunately, but the guy who played in Lord of the Rings in this movie, he says, how did he return? Poe says, how did he return? And that guy says, Sith magic or Sith cloning or whatever, Sith cloning or Sith magic, something like that. Just kind of lazily throwing it out there, which I guess they're going to answer, from what I hear, in Mandalorian Season 2, which would be a pretty cool tie-in. But I would like for all the answers to be answered in the film versus having to seek, other sorts of media and outlets and things like shows and comics. But, of course, from a marketing perspective, it ties it all into the universe, which is more fun and more lucrative as well for the company that owns it. So, that being said, I'm not really a fan of Palpatine being stronger, stronger than ever. But it is what it is. I mean, Rey was powered through all the Jedi. It wasn't just her alone. Now, if the same thing were to happen with Ben Solo or Anakin Skywalker, or someone to come in there and destroy Palpatine all by themselves, I would still have a problem with it. So it has nothing to do with the character. It's the way it was handled. I feel like all the Jedi should have appeared behind her, and then they would have empowered her, which would have then, destroyed the saber, destroyed Palpatine by, helping her hold the saber intact. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too much of a fan of this. I want to know what you guys think below. Do you think Matt Martin, even though he didn't work on Episode 9, do you think we should hold this as true canon, or do you think we should just, take it as a grain of salt? Just something that he, just like any other fan, would say, and not hold him in a position of, because he's who he is. I'm on the fence about it. I think he obviously knows a lot more than any of us because he's in the position that he's in. So for him to say that, he must know something, and I don't know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So I don't know, man. If I could have gone back and redone the sequels, I would have changed so many things around and done a lot of things differently. Obviously, Carrie's untimely death, we won't ever get back, but I would have definitely put Luke, Han, and Leia in one scene together, at least just one scene, because this is the story of Skywalker. To me, this feels like the story of Rey. It really does. I mean, if they renamed the sequel trilogy Rey, a Star Wars story, it would make sense, but it's supposed to be the Skywalker saga, and it didn't really feel like that. I think I would have enjoyed Colin Trevorrow's script a lot more if that would have actually happened, because it would have seen... You know what the thing is with the sequel trilogy? It feels claustrophobic to me. You know what I mean? It feels forgettable. The prequels and originals don't feel forgettable. And those have stood the test of time. 20, 40 years. I've already forgotten about the sequels. I'm focused on The Mandalorian. I'm focused on the Clone Wars. I'm focused on the Obi-Wan show coming. I'm focused on all of the other things that we're about to get. But with the sequels, and I'm not a sequel basher. I really enjoyed Episode 7, and I enjoyed Episode 9. Sure, they could have all been better. The prequels could have been better. Originals, sure, could have been better too. There's always room for improvement. But that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy certain aspects of films. There are a lot of unanswered questions that I would like to be answered, and I wish they would have been answered in the film. But it is what it is. I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think Palpatine truly was stronger than Episode 3 Sidious, or do you think he's just maybe a different version of himself? And he was brought back, and in the essence, in the production or process of him being resurrected, there were some powers that were lost, or some form of him that wasn't the same as before. I don't know, speculating, theorizing, but we have it plain and simple right here. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day. May the Force be with you.